my wife told me she needed time to reconnect with herself. So I figured she'd be off to some yoga retreat or wine-soaked self-discovery weekend. Turns out, she reconnected with her married boss instead. She drained our savings and flew to Bali. I didn't take that quietly. I'm Jake. I'm 34, live in Denver, and up until recently, thought I was happily married. I work in IT, which basically means I fix everything for everyone else and get thanked with "you're a lifesaver" and stale office donuts. My wife Melissa is, or was, a marketing executive. We were planning a kitchen remodel and maybe a dog. But one day, Melissa hits me with the classic, "I need space to breathe." Which, fine. Relationships aren't perfect, and people need air sometimes. I assumed she meant a weekend at her sister's, or maybe crying into some overpriced wine at a spa. I even offered to help her book something. Big supportive husband energy. Dumbass energy, more like it. She insisted she needed to go alone. Said it was for clarity. "I just feel like I've lost myself," she said, all misty-eyed and vague, like she was starring in a goddamn indie movie. She hugged me, told me I was so understanding, and rolled out with one suitcase and her yoga mat like she was off to become one with nature. I didn't even question it. That lasted about 3 days. First red flag, her phone started going silent. No replies, no cute thinking of you photos, not even a passive-aggressive selfie. Just nothing. When I asked if she was okay, she hit me with a delayed, having trouble getting signal excuse. Yeah, because wellness resorts in Bali famously don't have Wi-Fi. Next thing I notice, our joint savings account looks suspiciously anorexic. I log in and boom, almost wiped out. Not totally zero, but enough to make my stomach drop. $5,000 gone. Poof. Just enough for international flights and a few 5-star indulgences. So I go into bank detective mode, because if I've learned anything from IT, it's that logs don't lie. Turns out there were multiple withdrawals and a fat charge to something labeled Aura Retreats. Never heard of it. I Google it. Up pops a luxury wellness resort in Bali. White beaches, infinity pools, overpriced fruit bowls. The whole influencer fantasy. There's also a bunch of tag posts on Instagram, so I take a peek. And there she is. Melissa. Not meditating. Not soul-searching. But sipping champagne next to Grant, her boss. Now, I'd met Grant once at her company holiday party. He was the type of guy who talks to other men with his hand on their shoulder, like we're all in on some bro-code cult. He wore loafers without socks and called Melissa Mel, like they were already sleeping together, which I guess they were. I just hadn't gotten the memo. In the Instagram post, he's got his arm around her. She's laughing like she just heard the funniest joke on earth. Some random in the comments says, "power couple vibes," and my blood pressure skyrockets. Now I'm sitting at home, staring at my tiny-ass kitchen, still waiting on the backsplash we were supposed to install, while she's out there basking in sunsets and whatever the hell Grant calls a healing ceremony. I scroll more. Another post. This one has a suspiciously intimate-looking hammock. 4-2. Guess even healing comes with benefits. I didn't text her. I didn't call. I just sat there, stunned, mentally tallying every cent we saved over the past year. The postponed anniversary trip. The Costco brand peanut butter because we're budgeting. All the little sacrifices we made as a couple, or apparently, as a one-man show. For the next 24 hours, I stewed. Hard. I couldn't even turn on the TV without seeing some tropical vacation ad or some smug couple in a damn kayak. I got blackout mad at a bottle of gin and ended up doom-scrolling the retreat's website like some kind of masochist. Melissa had told me she needed time. Apparently, time cost thousands of dollars and included deep tissue massages with a side of betrayal. And yet, somehow, I wasn't done being a dumbass. A tiny voice in my head kept whispering, maybe it's not what it looks like. Maybe she needed clarity and Grant just happened to be there. Maybe they booked separately. Maybe I was blowing it out of proportion. I almost believed it too, until I saw the tagged photos from the resort's official account. One featured Grant and Mel as their couple of the month. I wish I were kidding. There it was. The romantic getaway I apparently financed. My wife was not on a break. She was on a fucking honeymoon that I didn't get invited to. And you know what? That was the moment the sadness flipped. The betrayal boiled down to rage. A very productive, spreadsheet-loving rage. Because if she thought she was walking back into our life with some sage in her hair and a bullshit apology, she had another thing coming. Next step? Legal clarity. If she wanted space, she was about to get all the distance in the world. right after I made sure she regretted the price of that champagne. I'd always thought rock bottom would feel more dramatic, like crashing glass or screaming or some kind of cinematic meltdown. But no, it was just me sitting on the kitchen floor in yesterday's hoodie, eating cereal with a fork because Melissa took all the damn spoons. Seriously, who takes spoons when they leave? Anyway, after the Instagram discovery, I dug into the bank statements a little more. It wasn't just the savings. She'd also racked up nearly $3,200 on our joint credit card. Flights, spa treatments, champagne brunches, and something called tantric bodywork, which, judging by the price tag, either involved diamonds or some very creative interpretation of massage. I called the credit card company, explained that the charges were unauthorized. They asked, was the card stolen? And I said, technically, yes, by my wife. Didn't help, because apparently, when your name is also on the account, betrayal doesn't count as fraud. Cool. So now I was stuck. Rent was due in a week, utilities were stacked up, and our emergency fund had been transformed into a beachfront selfie. I texted Melissa, short and polite. Hey, we need to talk about the money. Can you call me? She didn't call. She sent a text 3 hours later that read, I shit you not. Please respect my journey. I stared at the screen for a full minute, waiting for the punchline. There wasn't one. That was it. That was her response to robbing me blind and running off with Mr. Midlife Crisis in linen pants. I didn't even know what to say. I typed out 6 different replies, ranging from, are you high? To you owe me $12,456.74, you psychotic cucumber, but deleted them all. Instead, I called Kyle. Kyle's been my best friend since we were 14, and he dared me to eat a slice of cheese off the cafeteria floor. If you ever need someone to be both emotionally supportive and aggressively petty, Kyle's your guy. I gave him the full download. No spin, no sugarcoating, just betrayal and Bali. He let out a long whistle when I was done. Dude, he said, you need to document everything. Like everything. You might have legal grounds here. For what? Emotional tax evasion. No, man, marital asset theft. Start building a paper trail. This is future legal shit. I didn't know whether to laugh or cry, so I chose the third option, spite. I opened a fresh Google Drive folder and labeled it Melissa and the Enlightenment Scam. Then I started screenshotting every single bank charge, calendar event, Instagram post, and digital breadcrumb I could find. If she wanted a journey, I was going to give her a fucking map. With receipts. And let me tell you, the rabbit hole got deep fast. The Aura Retreats page looked spiritual enough. But when I clicked through there about us, it redirected to a holding page that listed the company as a lifestyle brand initiative under a shell LLC, run by none other than Grant himself. So the retreat wasn't some sacred self-discovery experience. It was his private side business, masked as a getaway for rich white people pretending yoga will fix their personalities. That explained the luxury price tags. He was laundering ego through a resort. Even worse, Melissa had apparently been helping him run it for months. I found emails in her inbox, still logged in on our shared laptop, bless her stupid heart, where she coordinated bookings, drafted bios, and even edited their marketing blurbs. I guess her corporate communications job had a new spiritual dimension now. It wasn't just betrayal, it was complicity. She hadn't just left. She'd jumped ship, paddled off in a yacht, and torched the dock on her way out. And you know what was the cherry on top? My mom called that night to ask how Melissa and I were doing. I had to tell her, well, she's in Bali with her boss-turned-tantric life guru, and she emptied our bank account. How's your tomato garden? I didn't sleep much that night. I kept checking my phone, half expecting her to text some vague apology, or, it's not what it looks like. But nah, she was too busy posting sunset photos and captions like, sometimes the best way to find yourself is to leave everything behind. Right. As if everything didn't include me. The guy who helped her move 3 times, built her IKEA shelves, and ate lentils for 3 months so we could max out our Roth IRA. The next morning, I bought a fresh notebook, labeled it Legal SHIT, and started itemizing everything Kyle and I had dug up. If she wanted space, she was getting a legal perimeter around her new life. This wasn't heartbreak anymore. This was evidence collection. If you've never combed through 6 years of someone's digital life, let me tell you, it's like peeling back the layers of an onion, except every layer is more expensive and more insulting than the last. Melissa was messy, sure, but digital habits? Predictable as hell. Same password, our cat's name plus an exclamation mark. Same folders, same lazy browser history. It was all there, laid out like a roadmap to her midlife breakdown. First up, calendar events. Apparently, she'd been planning this retreat for over a month. There were vague entries like wellness prep and tantra call with G. Which, gross. But more damning was the one that said submit refund request for a completely separate yoga retreat that I had surprised her with last year. She bailed on that one due to work stress, but here she was, sipping imported kombucha with her boss in Bali. Good to know stress is location-based. Then came the Venmo logs. She paid Grant $600 labeled travel prep. There was another for $1,200 labeled workshop materials, which, judging by his Instagram, translated to silk robes, personalized crystals, and whatever the hell a yoni steam is. By the time I hit the third charge, I was questioning not just her ethics, but her sanity. Kyle dropped by with Red Bulls and what he called his bullshit detector face. We spent 5 hours cross-referencing timestamps, comparing flight confirmations with beach photos, and printing everything like we were prepping for a trial. Which, honestly, we kind of were. Dude, Kyle said, pointing at the receipt for a couple's massage. She booked this 2 days before she told you she needed space. This wasn't a spontaneous breakdown. This was premeditated as hell. I knew he was right, but it still felt like someone else's life. Like I was watching a documentary about some clueless husband who never saw it coming. Except it wasn't Netflix. It was my couch, my name on the credit card, my damn cereal spoon she took with her. Then came the jackpot, an email draft saved in her account. Never sent. Addressed to Grant's wife, Dana. She must have chickened out, but it was titled, "We didn't mean for this to happen," and filled with every cliche from the Infidelity starter pack. Deep connection, unexpected feelings. We tried to fight it. And the best line of all. Jake and Dana deserve the truth eventually. Eventually. Like I was some toddler who needed to be gently introduced to the concept of betrayal. I stared at that sentence for 10 minutes. Then I took a breath and did something I didn't think I'd have the guts to do. I forwarded everything to Dana. Every screenshot, every Venmo log, every shady invoice tied to Grant's shell company. No commentary. Just the cold, hard truth, zipped into one neat little folder labeled, "In case you're still wondering." And then I sat there, hands sweating, heart doing that weird panic tap dance, waiting to see if she'd even read it. She didn't reply right away. I assumed she was either too shocked or too polite to respond. Or maybe she was in denial. Maybe this wasn't the first time Grant had spiritually connected with a colleague. But 2 days later, I got a call. Blocked number. I almost ignored it, but something made me pick up. "Jake?" the woman's voice asked. "This is Dana. I think we need to talk." I paused, not sure what she was going to say. Sue me? Thank me? Scream? I had my suspicions, she said, her voice sharp and clear. But this is next level. I had no idea he was using our money to fund his little sex cult resort. I let out something between a laugh and a cough. I don't even know what to call it. A scam? A spa with benefits? Oh, I know what to call it, she said. Tax fraud. Apparently, Dana wasn't just a pissed-off wife. She was also Grant's business partner. And let's just say she had not signed off on using company funds to book champagne-soaked beach suites under the guise of a healing retreat. We talked for an hour, compared notes, filled in gaps. It was like assembling a betrayal-themed puzzle where every piece made you want to scream into a pillow. She told me about the fake invoices she'd found, the suspicious client meetings, and the growing pile of unexplained retreat expenses Grant kept billing back to their LLC. By the time we hung up, we had a timeline, a motive, and enough cross-evidence to burn down the entire operation. And maybe I should have felt sad. Maybe I should have felt heartbroken or nostalgic, or whatever the hell you're supposed to feel when the love of your life turns out to be a barefoot embezzler in a flowy tunic. But honestly, all I felt was ready. They wanted a healing journey. I was about to give them a damn reckoning. I always thought revenge was supposed to be messy. Screaming matches, public breakdowns, burning photos in the backyard like some sad music video. But Dana? She was clinical, precise, vengeful in the most spreadsheet-driven way I'd ever seen. If I was coming in with receipts, she was showing up with bar graphs, timestamps, and a whole-ass PowerPoint presentation titled, "Why My Husband's a Lying Duchicano." The woman was a menace, in the best way possible. Our call turned into an in-person meeting at a local coffee shop. I showed up looking like a raccoon who'd slept in his hoodie for 3 days. She arrived with a tablet, 2 folders, and the calm, slightly unhinged smile of someone who's already envisioned her ex's career going up in flames. Melissa wasn't even original, Dana said, flipping open one of the folders. This is the second assistant Grant's tried to spiritually awaken. You serious? I blinked. Oh yeah, but this time he made it personal. He used my company to bankroll your wife's midlife crisis. Now it's war. We spent 3 hours cross-referencing everything. My screenshots, her invoices, his stupid soul alignment course registration lists. Turns out, the wellness retreat in Bali wasn't even part of the company's official offerings. It was Grant's side hustle, an illegal one, considering it was paid for with Dana's corporate credit card and filed under client development. Dana's crowning discovery? Melissa had submitted a reimbursement request through her job for professional coaching abroad, complete with Grant's signature on the letterhead. Meaning not only was Grant scamming Dana, Melissa was scamming her own company too. And because karma sometimes uses email, that company just happened to be hosting its annual gala that week. Dana's eyes lit up. I wasn't planning on attending. But now? Oh, I'm going. I assumed she meant awkward whispers and some passive-aggressive stares. Dana, however, was thinking bigger. She had a contact on the inside, one of the event organizers, who slipped her a 5-minute slot under the guise of presenting a donor thank you video. What she actually planned: a fully edited exposé featuring Grant's financial reports, timestamps from his romantic retreat with Melissa, and, yes, the now infamous Venmo payment labeled Yoni Steam Supplies. I offered to help edit. She laughed and said, "Please. I've been waiting years for an excuse to professionally ruin someone." The day of the gala, I didn't go in person. That would have been too much. Too soon. I wasn't ready to face Melissa in real time. Not when the last image I had of her was an Instagram boomerang of her and Grant clinking champagne glasses like they'd won the Nobel Peace Prize for screwing me over. But Dana? She sent me the live stream. It started off normal. Corporate small talk, bad jazz, too many appetizers. Grant was up there giving a half-baked speech about elevating emotional intelligence in leadership, which, considering what was coming next, was just deliciously ironic. And then Dana took the stage. She started calmly, thanking attendees for supporting the company's mental health initiatives. Then she smiled and said, "Before we close, I'd like to share a quick video on what leadership really looks like, especially behind closed doors." The room dimmed. The projector kicked on. And holy shit, I watched, slack-jawed, as every detail we dug up flashed across the screen. Emails, booking confirmations, footage from Grant's social media showing him shirtless in Bali with a caption that read, "When two energies align, the universe listens." The camera even panned to Melissa briefly, sipping a mimosa while lounging on a cabana daybed, completely unaware she was about to be outed harder than a celebrity caught on a hot mic. When the lights came back up, Dana stood there and said, "Melissa and Grant have both submitted fraudulent documentation to their employers. Effective immediately, they are being reported to HR and legal counsel. This concludes our program." The room? Dead silent. Grant stood up, then immediately sat back down when 2 security guards stepped in behind him. Melissa was visibly shaking, probably realizing that soul-searching wasn't going to pay off her legal fees. Dana walked off the stage like a damn gladiator. I laughed so hard, I nearly choked on my microwave burrito. Kyle, who was watching with me from my living room, raised his beer and said, "She's a fucking icon." It wasn't just petty revenge. It was strategic annihilation. Dana didn't just take them down, she made it a show. A statement. And honestly, I was proud to have played a supporting role. Melissa didn't reach out afterward. Not a call, not a text, not a carrier pigeon. I figured she was too busy dealing with the fallout. Losing her job, getting dragged in HR investigations, explaining to her Instagram followers why her healing journey ended in a scandal. Good, because the next phase was mine. And I wasn't just documenting anymore. I was about to lawyer the hell up. By the time Dana's corporate takedown went semi-viral on LinkedIn, I was already knee-deep in legal paperwork. Apparently, when your wife steals marital assets and lies about it while soaking in a luxury hot tub with her boss, the law doesn't just call it a break. They call it financial misconduct. And suddenly, I had options. Big ones. Kyle hooked me up with a friend of a friend, Anita, a family lawyer who looked like she ate divorce settlements for breakfast. First thing she asked, did she spend the money before or after saying she needed space? Before, I said. She raised an eyebrow. Even better. Anita was calm, sharp, and had the kind of voice that made judges listen without interrupting. She took one look at my folder of screenshots, emails, and hotel charges and said, "We're filing immediately. This isn't just infidelity, it's asset misappropriation." I didn't even know that was a word. But damn, did it feel good. Melissa didn't respond to the initial summons. Classic. Just ignored it like a phone notification she didn't like the sound of. It wasn't until her employer officially terminated her that she realized maybe, just maybe, she should start replying to legal documents. So, of course, she showed up to court with Grant. I nearly laughed out loud when I saw them walking together. He was wearing some open-collar shirt like he thought he was still in Bali, and she looked like she'd aged 10 years trying to fake confidence. He kept checking his phone during the whole damn session, like someone was going to text him a miracle. Spoiler, they didn't. We presented everything. The joint savings she emptied. The unauthorized credit card charges. The Venmo payments labeled Sacred Touch Workshop and Breathwork Intimacy. The receipts she'd tried to pass off as business expenses. Hell, even her boss/lover being exposed at the gala got mentioned because, according to Anita, pattern of deceit matters in family court. Melissa's lawyer tried to paint it as a personal journey misunderstood. I think the judge physically sighed. And then he looked at Melissa and said something I'll never forget. You don't get to steal from your marriage to fund a personal crisis. Boom. The final judgment? Melissa had to repay half the savings she took, reimburse 75% of the credit card charges that weren't mutually agreed on, and cover a portion of my legal fees. The judge also added a spicy little clause preventing her from accessing any future joint accounts if we weren't legally divorced yet. Which, yeah, was happening next. Meanwhile, Grant just sat there like a man who realized his Instagram influencer dreams were circling the drain. His side business took a massive hit after Dana's exposé. Word got around fast that his wellness retreats were more like employee hookup getaways with an ocean view. Former clients dropped him, his main company distanced itself, and Dana? She was already filing for divorce, with a prenup that favored her by a landslide. As for me, I walked out of that courtroom feeling like a vindicated reality TV contestant, like the guy who came in crying and left holding a trophy and a check. I didn't get all the money back, but I got enough. Enough to pay off the debt she left me with. Enough to breathe without feeling like I was inhaling her mess. Enough to start over. She didn't even make eye contact on the way out. Not once. Which was fine, because I wasn't done. After court, I posted my story anonymously to Reddit. Just to vent. Just to get it out of my system. But apparently, Reddit loves a good karmic justice tale. Within hours, it blew up. People dissected every detail. Screenshots went viral. The double hammock picture turned into a meme. When your girl says she needs space, but she really means she needs Grant's timeshare. Kyle sent me a TikTok someone made reenacting Melissa's gala downfall. Another showed Grant getting photoshopped into a wellness bro starter pack. I didn't ask for internet fame, but damn if it didn't feel cathartic. Melissa eventually messaged me. Not to apologize, of course. Just a sad little, hey, can we talk? No, we could not. Because I had one more card to play. And it was going to take me far, far away from her. Preferably somewhere with palm trees, working air conditioning, and no lying spouses in sight. After the court mess, the lawsuits, and the public humiliation that turned Melissa and Grant into meme material, I did what every emotionally scorched man dreams of doing, but rarely pulls off. I booked a one-way flight to Bali. First class. On her dime, technically, which made it taste better than champagne. And no, I didn't post thirst traps or beach quotes about healing. I wasn't out there trying to find myself through overpriced smoothies and self-absorbed yoga. I just wanted to sit in a chair, sip something cold, and let the waves drown out the sound of Melissa's betrayal slowly combusting behind me. But Bali had other plans. Enter Anita. Yeah, that Anita, my divorce lawyer. Turns out she was already in Bali on vacation when I landed. Not for revenge or symbolism. Just because she actually takes time off after destroying people in court. Respect. We met for drinks out of convenience. One of those, hey, we survived the circus might as well toast the ashes kind of nights. But it didn't stay casual. Because Anita was the first person who didn't ask me how I was holding up like I was a cracked vase. She just got it. She'd seen Melissa types 100 times. And apparently, I wasn't the first guy to get legally screwed while his wife was getting literally screwed on a wellness journey. We ended up talking for hours about law, relationships, how people weaponize emotional language to do shady shit, and then act shocked when consequences show up. She didn't coddle me. She didn't give advice wrapped in faux spiritual nonsense. She just said, "You didn't deserve it, but you handled it better than most." And then we ordered another round. Over the next few days, we started hanging out more. Not like a rom-com montage, don't worry. No dancing in the rain or deep eye contact under moonlight. We went hiking, drank too much at a pool bar, made fun of Instagram influencers staging photos at temples. At one point, we watched a couple argue over the price of a mango smoothie, and she leaned over and whispered, "That'll be you and Melissa in 5 years if you'd stayed." God, she was right. Back home, the fallout kept rolling in like a delayed karma tsunami. Grant's company issued a statement that might as well have said, "We regret employing a human midlife crisis." Melissa moved back into her mom's house and tried to rehab her image by posting vague, "growth isn't linear" captions. Dana, ever the legend, started a blog about corporate cheaters and apparently scored a book deal. I didn't reply to Melissa's last message. She'd sent it while I was lounging in an infinity pool with Anita, and honestly, the sheer timing was poetic. All it said was, "I made a mistake. I miss who we were. Cool. I missed having a partner who didn't nuke our finances for a barefoot champagne retreat with her smug boss." Guess we're both disappointed. I blocked her. She didn't deserve even a syllable of closure. Anita and I didn't put a label on anything. She still lived across the country, and I wasn't about to become one of those rebound idiots who mistake gratitude for love. But we agreed on one thing. Whatever we were doing, it felt real. Not in the soulmate, stars aligning way. Just in the hey, we both crawled out of the same dumpster fire, and now we're laughing about it way. Which, frankly, was more honest than anything I ever had with Melissa. When the trip ended, I felt lighter. Not fixed, not healed, just free. I didn't need a life lesson wrapped in pain. I didn't need to pretend Melissa's betrayal taught me to love myself. It didn't. It taught me that people will absolutely lie through their teeth while booking luxury massages. And if you're not paying attention, they'll take your money, your trust, and your damn hammock with them. But it also taught me how to fight back. Not with revenge porn or screaming matches. With facts. With receipts. With quiet, cold legal action and a suitcase full of evidence. And in the end, that was enough. I took my healing in cash, and I spent it exactly how I wanted to. Far away from her, closer to peace, and just drunk enough to toast to my own damn survival.